Good afternoon, ladies, gents, Pikachus, and all creatures great and small. Welcome back to another analysis and breakdown of the Quran of the Muslims. Yes, we are back to another verse-by-verse breakdown of the Quran, and what we're going to do is take each verse on its own merit, format it into an easily understandable, logical, factual statement, and then we're going to read through them verse by verse to figure out who or what is Allah, what is his purpose upon the earth, and more importantly, how does this affect you and I in our daily lives now in the modern age. So let's get started. If you'll remember, if you've been keeping up with my previous videos, Allah has in a roundabout way just finished chastising his faithful Muslims. Even though at the start of the verses he was kind of trying to be nice to them, that didn't work out so well, and he just boiled it down into, Muslims, you have to do what I tell you. You're not allowed to think or feel or do or be or see anything apart from what I, Allah in the book, is telling you. And if you do not do everything I command, here are the punishments for you. Allah goes through all the punishments, and at the end of it he says the worst thing that you can do, apart from deny that Allah is the God of all, the second worst thing you can do is to hang out with those evil Satans and those hypocritical Christians and those dirty dumb pagans, everyone else on earth. And then we went through some punishments, what they are going to receive. And the final thing was, if you, O Muslims, decide that you're actually wrong about following Islam and you leave to go to another religion or just to be part of the secular world, you get the worst, most harsh punishment of all. But Allah's wise and graceful. He says so in his book, so it must be true. That's what we got up to last time. So, let's carry on. Now he's starting a new bit, so you can tell he wants to start a totally new topic, because what he does, Allah in the book, to start a new topic is he goes, remember, or hear ye, or in this case, behold. So that means forget what we were talking about, that's gone in, that's true, now we're on to the new topic. 118. Behold, Allah makes heaven and earth, sun and moon, sailing ships and the growth of mankind, and the life he gave to the earth which was dead. In animals, weathers, and the clouds which they trail like their slaves, Allah's holy signs are for people whom are wise. Now, I can tell this is going to be a fun episode. Let's break that down. So, I've got to mention that last little bit rhymes even in English, so I don't know whether that was Allah that made that or whether it was the actual translator who did that on purpose. But extra points for a little bit of proseful rhyme there. I thought that was good. And the thing that he made rhyme is trail like their slaves, Allah's signs are for a people who are wise. It just kind of sounded good, didn't it? So anyway, he starts off by saying, behold, to get your attention and to move you on to a new subject. And the new subject is Allah is now going to tell you how you, O Muslims, are going to be punishing those evil everybody else in the world people. So before he does that, because he's just squashed you down with a load of threats and punishments to you, O Muslims and readers of the Quran, now he needs to get you back on board and make sure that you're focused in the task ahead and not quaking in your boots, crapping your pants at the various punishments Allah is going to lather on you should you not do this. So he starts off by saying Allah makes heaven and earth, sun and moon, and then says Allah makes sailing ships and the growth of mankind. So if this is to be believed, Allah not only is taking credit for everything that's ever been created, sun, moon, earth, everything else, he's also specifically taking the credit for human progress and technology. So sailing ships at the time would have been like one of the prevalent high technology things, a lot of money and a lot of expertise would have gone into crafting these huge sailing ships back then. They didn't have any iron. This would have been wooden sailing ships. So of course you need craftsmen, you need tools and money, and you also need good conditions in which to build your ship. And that, I feel, is what Allah is trying to take the credit for here. He's saying earth, heaven, sun and moon, day and night, sailing ships and the growth of mankind. So basically everything that is relevant to you, O Muslim, in your life, or anyone who's reading the Quran, and in fact those evil Jews and Satans over there, Allah is the cause of everything good. So that's how he starts. Behold, Allah is the cause of everything good. Allah's signs are for people who are wise. So that's what he's saying. Behold, Allah made everything. Everything good in life is due to Allah. And his holy signs are for only wise people. See what he did there? So what he's doing is he's going, Muslims, anyone who hasn't seen my signs are dumb. So that later on he can go, did you see my signs? And they go, yeah, definitely. Yeah, of course we did. Yeah, we're not dumb. Of course we saw them. Of course they were there. Of course they're real. Who hasn't seen Allah's holy signs? Only those evil Jews. They don't see him, do they? He doesn't show them the signs. That's what this means. Oh, we missed a bit in the middle. We didn't miss it, but I feel it needs a little bit more explanation. He says he gave life to the earth that was dead. Now, going back to Genesis, and in fact the beginning of the Quran, the Adam story, in the beginning of the world, earth actually was dead because only the Garden of Eden contained life, and that life was the plants and the water inside Eden, Allah, the angels, and Adam and Eve. And if you think about it, before Allah tricked Adam into learning the hidden secrets of heaven and earth and getting chucked out of heaven to populate the earth below, before that happened, earth was dead in terms of humanity. There was no people down there. So I think that's what Allah is referring to here. Allah is saying he gave life to the world, he gave humanity to the world, which previous to that was dead. Which is kind of true, apart from it did have animals and plants. We know that from Genesis. So in a way, this is the first time Allah has actually told the truth, if, as I think, Allah is the snake from Eden, because had he not poisoned the well of Adam's mind and caused original sin and the fall from heaven, Earth never would have been populated by humanity. They would have remained in Eden, and the population of humans here now, including you and I, dear reader, we would have been living in heaven right now if it wasn't for Allah. So that's what he's referring to here. And the growth of mankind, the life he gave to earth that was dead, means Allah's taken responsibility for earth being the new home of humanity after he has caused original sin. He's literally admitting there in a roundabout way that original sin was him, and he's rather proud of this. So he was the one that gave life to earth. He was the one that brought humans here. He didn't want us to be in heaven anyway. He did it on purpose. That's what this means. Then he goes on. After saying Allah's signs are only for wise people, he then carries on. Yet some people are just really dumb, who love another God as they should love Allah. Muslims will absolutely only love Allah if the dum-dums down there knew how harshly Allah was going to punish them. If only they knew, they would relent. All power belongs only to Allah, and he will ensure enforcement of their terrible punishments. End verse. So I feel like there's a lot of juiciness in here that we can in a roundabout way get to and deconstruct. So Allah starts off by saying, I'm great, behold everyone, I'm great, I made everything, all the good stuff in the world comes from me. And when I give these holy signs, I only give them to the smart people, Muslims. So in a roundabout way, he's saying only the Muslims are wise. Everyone else down there who we're going to kill later, they're just stupid anyway. Who cares about them? They're dumb and evil and self-destructive, and they just want us to kill them. They literally want us to go and kill them, and they're evil and mind-controlled by Allah, so it'll be good anyway when we wipe them out, and then they'll be dead, and we'll get their firmament, and Allah's commands can be upheld. That's what that means. Yet some are really dumb, who love another God as they should Allah. Wise Muslims will absolutely only love Allah. If the dum-dums know how harshly Allah would punish them, they would relent. All power belongs to Allah, and he will ensure enforcement of their terrible punishments. So, again, we hear about the terrible punishments that Allah is going to inflict upon the rest of the world if they're not worshipping him enough, if they're not bowing to Allah and doing his whole Quran stuff. They're going to get these horrible punishments, and there's not going to be any escape because all power belongs to Allah, and he will ensure the enforcement. It doesn't say he will do the enforcement. It's not like Allah is not saying that he's going to personally come down and punish us all, us evil Satans and Christians, the unbelievers. He's saying he will ensure enforcement of the terrible punishments of the unbelievers. So if we deconstruct this, what Allah is actually saying here, dear ladies, gents and Pikachus, is he is saying he is going to ensure that his Muslims punish the unbelievers, us, with terrible punishments. That is literally what this says. Allah is going to ensure that his Muslims punish us with severe, terrible punishments. That is literally what this says. I'll carry on. 119. If those evil dum-dums knew it, they would stop talking about other religions and kick out all their faithfuls. They would totally cut them off and go no contact. Upon their punishments by Allah's faithful, they would say, "Please, please give us one more chance. We shall relent. We shall avail you." At which point Allah will say, "No, I do not accept your pleas," and will show them the fruits of their evil, which will be regret. There shall be no escape for the unbelievers from Allah's bad fire. Ooh. So I feel like this is pretty self-explanatory, but this is a very emotionally written verse. So let's go through it. We've just heard about how Allah's going to enforce his Muslims, put the punishment on us. So he's not going to do it personally. He's going to trick his Muslims into coming to kill us and punish us. And he's going to do this by telling them they will be the ones to get the punishment if they don't. Plus, they will not be able to live peacefully. He's going to just keep bugging them and annoying them and making their crops fail and such, unless they do what he tells them and kills the unbelievers. So that's that set up. The next bit is, if those evil dum-dums knew it, if those guys knew what was coming for them, this big evil punishment, he doesn't say they would stop doing it. If the evil dum-dums, the Jews, Christians and the pagans and the secular world, if they knew what was coming for them, they would totally cut themselves off from each other, isolate themselves and go no contact from each other. That's what this means. They would totally cut themselves off and go no contact. Upon their punishments by Allah's faithful, they will say, "Please, give us one more chance. Don't cut our heads off. We're so sorry." But Allah will show them the fruits of their evil, which will be regret. None shall escape Allah's bad fire. So this is directly, not even telling the Muslims, even though he's talking to his Muslims. This is directly Allah foretelling and prophesying of the end of us secular people, Christians and Jews. And how that's going to happen is, and if we knew this was going to happen, we'd all hide in our houses and not speak to each other. We'd stop doing our religions and we'd just pray to Allah, "Please, please make our punishment come now," to make it quick, because we can't not get it. That was made clear in the last episode and actually previous verses. So as flipping crazy as it is, this is Allah saying to his faithfuls, those dum-dums would be terrified if they knew what was coming for them, i.e. you are coming for them to cut their heads off, rape and kill them and burn their villages. If they knew what was coming, they wouldn't even have villages. They would literally dig themselves holes in the desert, put their head in the hole and never talk, never worship, never do anything. They wouldn't have friends. They would end their lives right there. They would just wish for death, basically, is what Allah is saying. And upon the punishments that when they arrive, when you Muslims go to kill them and you're there in front of them, what's going to happen, according to Allah, is they are going to beg for forgiveness at that point. They're going to go, "Please don't kill us. Allah, we're so sorry. We'll relent. We'll do your Allah worship. Please just don't kill us." That's what he's telling the Muslims to expect when they roll up and try and kill us in the West. Seem legit? Fucking no. But anyway, let's continue. So after we beg for our forgiveness and say we're going to do the Allah worship, even that's not good enough. Allah will not accept their pleas and will say, "No, I will show you the fruits of your evil." Guys over here, including you and me, Allah's going to show us the fruit of our evils, and guess what that fruit is? Total regret. We're going to be like, "Oh, he won't even forgive us and give us one more chance. Oh, I'm so regretful that I lived a full life to its fullest and I was joyful and I didn't kill anyone. Oh." That's what he thinks is going to... This is unbelievable stuff. So... In retrospect, if this is to be believed, Allah is punishing his Muslims for not worshipping him enough and saying the bad situation they are in is because they're not doing his commands well enough. Then he has a go at them and says, "This is how I'm going to punish you if you carry on not doing them as well as I want you to do." Then he says, "By the way, Allah's great and made everything, so, you know, stop moaning and listen to this new thing." And the new thing is, as creation, sun, moon, earth, day and night, and ships sailing and everything else has happened, also this will happen. You Muslims will go over there into the rest of the world and you'll kill these guys When they beg for forgiveness or they say we're changing our mind, we're now going to want to be Muslims to save their lives. No, you don't accept that. You kill them even more. And what you can expect from them when you roll up to kill these Western guys is not that they're going to defend themselves and try and fight back. What you can expect is they're going to already be alone on their knees going, we're so sorry, Allah. Oh, you're so right, Allah. You're so sweet, baby. That's literally what it is. Allah thinks when his Muslim army rolls up to Britain or America or wherever else where the unbelievers are waiting, they're not going to be waiting with armed guns and body armor and tanks. No, they're going to be waiting on their knees going, you so pretty, baby. I'm so sorry. You know, it's like Allah thinks that everyone is going to want to be a Muslim at that point. But even if they do want to be a Muslim, Allah will not accept their pleas. And then he will say, no, you're going to get the fruits of your evil, which is regret. And there will be no escape from Allah's bad fire. So at that point, you're all dead. You're going to hell, burning forever. Allah's command reaches the earth and it's paradise. And then they get there, you know, I think it's 72 virgins or something like that. But we'll get to that later. So that's what this means. A very long verse. Very long but very concise verse. And the summation of this verse is Muslims, go and kill the non-believers. Don't listen to their cries or pleas for mercy. Don't even listen to them if they say we're actually going to be Muslims now. Kill them, chop their heads off, burn their villages, take all their stuff. They will not be able to escape and all they are going to be feeling is regret. They're not going to stick up for themselves. That's what this says. And then we get to our final verse. 120. O ye people, eat of what Allah makes good and lawful only, and do not follow the footsteps of the Satans, you know, the evil Jews. For to us they are our sworn enemy, an avowed enemy indeed. Allah hath commanded you what is evil, who the shameful ones are. You do not know what they do. You do not know who they are, but Allah alone knows the things of which you have no knowledge. Allah knows all. End of reading. So, this isn't quite as bad as the last bit, but if you think about it, it's actually still pretty bad. So, the psychotic narcissistic Allah, in his latest verse, is saying to his Muslims, after he said, we're going to go and kill all those guys, and if you don't do it, you're going to be those guys, and we'll come and kill you too. They're going to get burnt forever in hell, and only know regret, and there's going to be no escape for them, because I'm going to enforce on you Muslims. Like, I'm not enforcing on them, I'm enforcing on you Muslims through my mind control. That you will definitely go and kill them all and you'll have no regrets and they'll have only regrets and then there'll be no escape for them. And then after that, talking about how they're all going to go to the bad fire, his next thing is, O ye people, eat only of what Allah makes good and lawful, and do not follow the footsteps of the Satans, which we know from an earlier verse means the Jews, for they are our sworn enemy. An avowed enemy. So breaking that bit down, Allah is saying, right, last time I'm going to tell you guys, only eat the stuff that I've written that you can eat in there. Only do the behaviours and the actions and the laws that I've written for you in there. Only say the things that I've written for you in there. And whatever you do, don't listen to those guys. Don't be like them. Don't read their book. Don't follow their religion. Don't follow their culture. Certainly don't speak their language or eat their food. Whatever you do, don't become friends with the evil Satan Jews and their friends the Christians, or listen to anything they're going to say to you. And the reason that you're not going to do that is because, quote, this is Allah speaking to his Muslims about the Jews, they are our sworn enemy, an avowed enemy, end quote. So, we finally get to the cut and dried, most clear example of Allah personally inciting his Muslims to genocide of the Jews by calling them Satans, and through fear of death and punishment, his Muslims are not to even speak to these guys, not even to eat their food or have any conversations with them. It's kill on sight. And the reason is because Allah is telling you by his own heavenly decree, that's what this whole thing is. Allah is telling you, O Muslims, the Jews are our sworn enemy, an avowed enemy. What that means is, a sworn enemy means Allah has sworn he's going to kill them, and he's not going to stop until they're dead. That's him. An avowed enemy means you can't be a good Muslim unless you complete your vow to Allah, who is in the book, unless you complete your vow to Allah to uphold his command, which is maniac end-time genocide of the Jews and the Christians. Specifically, in this case, the Jews, who he calls Satans. So, that is heavy stuff, but I think we can see now. We've gone through creation, destruction, we've gone through how the Muslim countries became set up the way they are, how the Muslims are being brainwashed by Allah at the threat of death and punishment. But now we can even see Allah even admits, in his own words, talking to his own Muslims, he says, "O Muslims, I shall enforce you to kill the Jews. I, Allah, am not going to kill the Jews. What I am going to do, O Muslims, I am going to enforce you, Muslims, go and kill the Jews. And the reason that you have to do this is because they are my sworn enemy," me being Allah in the book. The Jews are Allah's sworn enemy, and they are your avowed enemy, O Muslims. So what that means is, I kill all of my sworn enemies and they will all die, and I will not rest until that happens. That's the main thing of this whole religion. And you are the one to do it, O Muslims. And if you don't, you are breaking your vow to Allah. And those horrible punishments we went through in the last episode, and in fact this episode, will be visited upon you. I will be enforcing them, me being Allah in the book. I will be enforcing them on you, Muslims. So you better watch out that you don't break my commands. You kill those Satans and Christians. And make sure while you do it, you carry on worshipping me, or you won't like what happens to you. That's what this says. And that's the end of this video, so I hope you enjoyed that and you learned something. Tomorrow we're going to pick up where we left off and carry on going into Allah's foamy mouth psychotic rantings about how he's going to enforce his Muslims to go across the world and fulfill his end times genocidal prophecy. So until then, I hope you've enjoyed this. God bless, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye now. And if you would like to know more about the religion of peace and the Quran of the Muslims, please check back with me when the next episode's out, 7:15 tomorrow morning. Until then, God bless, have fun, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye now.